should say morning to my children.
You use your own time. I said we use your own time. Morning. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I welcome you all to the 30th Annual General Meeting of Abbey Mortgage Bank PLC. May we have the national anthem to start off?
Arise, O compatriots, Nigeria's call obey to serve our fatherland with love and strength and faith. Shall never be in vain. To serve with heart and mind, one nation bound in freedom, peace and unity.
Wow, who is this lady? Who is this lady? To give us opening prayer. Well, may we have an opening prayer? Madam, if you don't mind, can you lead us in the opening prayer, please?
Please, let's rise. Father, in Jesus' name, eternal rock of ages, the King of glory, the mighty God, the beginning and the end, the I am that I am, Father, King of glory, we thank you for today. We thank you for all that you have done for us. We thank you for bringing us once again today. May your name be highly exalted in Jesus' name. Amen. King of glory, we are about to start. My Lord and my Father, every deliberations we are about to make today, Father, may it be for the success of this organization in the name of Jesus Christ. Father, let your name alone be glorified and adored. In Jesus' name we pray.
Thank you, Madam. On the 21st day of June 2022, the Corporate Affairs Commission approved the convening of the bank's 30th Annual General Meeting to be held by proxies in accordance with the CAC's guidelines thereon, and subject to the directives of the federal and Lagos state governments prohibiting large gatherings. The Nigerian Exchange Group also adopted the CAC's above-mentioned guidelines. As such, this AGM shall be held by proxies. I'm standing in for our able chairman, Mazi Ikeo Ivi, who is not physically present to chair this meeting, but is with us online. Based on the CAC, SEC, and Nigeria Stock Exchange approvals to convene this AGM by way of proxies, the company registrars received executed proxy forms sent in by shareholders. I now call on Mrs. Catherine Nwosu, the registrar's representative, to inform the meeting of the number of proxies received and the percentage of total shareholding they represent and the number of persons physically present. Mrs. Nwosu, please.
Good day all. My name is Frank Ofebu, representing the registrar. For the purpose of this meeting, we received a total of 233 proxies with a total of 8,625,105,756 units of shares, representing 84.94% of the issued share capital of Abbey Mortgage Bank PLC. For the physical presence, we have about 6 shareholders and other press and regulators duly represented. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Registrar. Based on the report of registrars, I now declare the meeting duly constituted. I have with me Mr. Mobolaji Adeomi, the MD CEO, Mr. Dipo Adeoye, Executive Director, Operations and Business Growth, and Mr. Jeff Amaronu, the Company Secretary. Other directors participating virtually are our able Chairman, Mazi Ivi, High Chief Samuel Oni, Mr. Nonso Okpala, Professor Marius Umego, and Brigadier General John Obasa. Now, may I introduce the regulators and professional advisors with us. The SEC is represented by Mrs. Onyinye Onoha and Mr. Andrew Yusuf. The Stock Exchange, sorry, that was a Security and Exchange Commission. The Stock Exchange, Mrs. Peggy Halliday. Online, she's online. CAC, Mrs. Kemi Origomison Sage. NIDC, Helen Irabo Ezezobo. NDIC, yes, NDIC, sorry. And Deloitte and Touche, our external auditors, are represented by Mr. Joshua Ojo and Mrs. Ayotunde Aminu. She's down here. Okay. The African Prudential PLC registrars, Frank Ofuego. Yes. Okay. The Audit Committee Chairman, Mr. Adekunle Ali. Corporate Governance Committee, Board Appraisers, represented by Lucia Egbe. We now go to the business of the day. May I call on the Company Secretary to read the notice of the meeting on page 145 of the annual report.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. Notice of annual general meeting. Notice is hereby given that the 30th annual general meeting of Abbey Mortgage Bank PLC will be held at number 23 Karemu Kotu Street, Victoria Island, Lagos, on Tuesday, the 19th day of July, 2022, at 10 a.m. in the forenoon to transact the following businesses. Ordinary business. 1. To lay before the meeting the audited financial statements for the year ended 31st December 2021, together with the reports of the directors, auditors, audit committee, and board appraisers thereon. 2. To elect/re-elect directors. 3. To authorize directors to fix the remuneration of the auditors for the 2022 financial year. 4. To disclose the remuneration of managers. 5. To elect members of the audit committee. Special business. 6. To approve the remuneration of directors. 7. To consider and, if thought fit, pass the following as an ordinary resolution. That pursuant to Section 868 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020, which defines share capital to mean the issued share capital of a company at any given time, the directors be and are hereby authorized to take steps to comply with CAMA and Regulation 13 of the Companies Regulations 2021 as they relate to the unissued shares currently standing in the capital of the company, including the cancellation of the unissued shares of the company. 2. Roman 2. That the directors be and are hereby authorized to do such acts or take all such actions, including the filing of such documents that may be required by the Corporate Affairs Commission and all other relevant regulatory agencies, necessary and incidental to the effectuation of the foregoing resolution. Roman 3. That clause 6 of the company's memorandum and articles of association be altered to give effect to Resolution 7 Roman 1 by replacing the words authorized share capital with the words issued share capital. 8. To consider and, if thought fit, pass the following as a special resolution. That Article 86 of the Articles of Association be amended by replacing the existing provision with unless and until otherwise determined by the company by way of a special resolution. Directors of the company shall not be less than 7 or more than 21 in number. 9. To consider and, if thought fit, pass the following as a special resolution. That subject to obtaining the approval of relevant regulatory authorities, the directors of the company be and are hereby authorized to raise additional capital of up to 15 billion naira locally or internationally, whether through rights issue, public offer, private placement, special placing, in such numbers as shall be determined by the directors, or through the issuance of bonds or notes or other instruments, debts, loans in any currency, in such tranches, series, or proportions, at such coupon or interest rates or otherwise, with such maturity periods, and on such other items and conditions as the directors may deem fit or determine. Roman 2. That directors be and are hereby authorized to take all such steps required to give effect to the above resolution, including the execution of any documents or regulatory filings and appointment of professional advisors. Notes. Note 1. Attendance and voting by proxy. The federal government of Nigeria, state government, health authorities, and regulatory agencies have issued guidelines and directives aimed at curbing the spread of COVID-19 in Nigeria. Particularly, the Lagos state government has prohibited large gatherings, while the Corporate Affairs Commission issued guidelines on holding AGMs of public companies by proxy. The convening and conduct of this AGM shall be in compliance with these directives and guidelines. A member of the company entitled to attend and vote at the annual general meeting is entitled to appoint a proxy to attend and vote instead of him or her. A proxy form is attached to this notice, and if it is to be valid for the purpose of this meeting, it must be completed, stamped, and deposited at the office of the company's registrars, Africa Prudential PLC, 220B, Ikorodu Road, Palm Grove, Lagos, or via email at cxc@africaprudential.com, not later than 48 hours before the meeting. In line with CSC guidelines, attendance of the AGM shall be by proxy only. Shareholders are required to appoint a proxy of their choice from the list of nominated proxies below. 1. Mazi Emmanuel Kalivi, Chairman, Board of Directors. 2. Mr. Mobulaji Adeomi, Managing Director, CEO. 3. Mr. Adekunle Ali, Shareholder. 4. Engineer Prince M.O.T. Tobu, Shareholder. Note 2. Stamping of proxy forms. The company has made arrangements at its cost for the stamping of the duly completed and signed proxy forms submitted to the company's registrars within the stipulated time. Note 3. Online streaming of AGM. The AGM will be streamed live online. This will enable shareholders and other stakeholders who will not be attending physically to follow the proceedings. The link for the AGM online live streaming will be made available on the company's website at www.abbymortgagebank.com. Note 4. Closure of register. In compliance with Section 114 of CAMA 2020, the register of members and transfer books of the company will be closed from 11th July to 15th July 2022, both dates inclusive. 5. Audit Committee. In accordance with Section 4046 of CAMA 2020, any member may nominate a shareholder as a member of the Audit Committee by giving notice in writing of such nomination to the Company Secretary at least 21 days before the annual general meeting. In view of the statutory requirement that some members of the committee should have basic financial literacy and be knowledgeable in internal control processes, nominations should be accompanied by CVs of the nominees. Then note 6, right of shareholders to ask questions. Shareholders have the right to ask questions not only at the meeting but also in writing prior to the meeting. Dated 17th day of June 2022 by order of the board. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
The first item to receive is to receive the audited accounts as at 31st December 2021, together with the reports of the directors, auditors, the audit committee, and the board appraisers thereon. Therefore, request that the following be taken as read. Chairman's statement on pages 16 to 18 of the annual report. Thank you. Director's report on pages 23 to 28 of the annual report. MD CEO's report on pages 19 to 21 of the annual report. Thank you. I now call on Mr. Joshua Ojo, the representative of Deloitte and Touche, to read the report of the auditors. It is on pages 50 to 53 of the annual report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And shareholders, good morning once again. I seek your indulgence to read selected sections of the audit opinion. Thank you very much. Yes, I say shareholders. Thank you. Independent Auditor's Report to the members of Abbey Mortgage Bank PLC on page 50. Page 50. We have audited the financial statements of Abbey Mortgage Bank PLC set out on pages 54 to 141, which comprise the statement of financial position as at 31 December 2021, the statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income, statement of changes in equity, statement of cash flow for the year then ended, and and the notes to the financial statements, including a summary of significant accounting policies. In our opinion, the financial statements give a true and fair view of the financial position of Abbey Mortgage Bank PLC as at 31 December 2021 and its financial performance and statement of cash flows for the year then ended in accordance with the International Financial Reporting Standards, the requirements of the Companies and Other Matters Act 2020, Banks and Other Financial Institutions Act 2020, the Central Bank of Nigeria Circulars, and Financial Reporting Council of Nigeria Act 2011. We conducted our audit in accordance with international standards on auditing. Our responsibilities under those standards are further described in the auditor's responsibilities for the audit of financial statements section of our report. We are independent of the bank in accordance with the requirements of the International Ethics Standard Boards for Accountants, International Code of Ethics for Professional Accountants, and other independence requirements applicable to performing audits of financial statements in Nigeria. We have fulfilled our other ethical responsibilities in accordance with the IASBA Code and other ethical requirements that are relevant to our audit of financial statements in Nigeria. We believe that the audit evidence we have obtained is sufficient and appropriate to provide a basis for our opinion. The key audit matter is on the identification and measurement of impairment of loans and advances. I'll go to page 53. Report on other legal and regulatory requirements. In accordance with the 5th Schedule of Companies and Other Matters Act 2020, we expressly state that 1. We have obtained all the information and explanation which, to the best of our knowledge and belief, were necessary for the purpose of our audit. 2. The bank has kept proper books of accounts so far as appears from my examination of those books. 3. The bank's financial position and its statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income are in agreement with the books of accounts and returns. The bank has complied with the requirements of the relevant circulars issued by Central Bank of Nigeria in accordance with Circular BSD 1/2004, issued by the Central Bank of Nigeria. Details of incident-related credits as disclosed in Note 36 to the financial statement. No contravention of the Banks and Other Financial Institution Act Cap B3 LFA 2020 and relevant circulars issued by the Central Bank of Nigeria came to our knowledge during the year ended 31 December 2021. Signed for Deloitte and Touche on the 26th of May 2022. Thank you, sirs.
Thank you. I now call on Mr. Adekunle Ali, the chairman of the Audit Committee, to present the report of the Statutory Audit Committee, which we can find on page 48 of the annual report. Mr. Ali.
The report of the Audit Committee for the year of Abbey Mortgage Bank for the year ended 31st December 2021. In accordance with the provisions of Section 404, subsection 4 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020, we have reviewed the financial statements for the year ended 31st December 2021 as follows. We have exercised our statutory functions and powers as provided by Articles of Association of the Bank and the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020, and acknowledge the cooperation of management staff in the conduct of our responsibilities. We are of the opinion that the accounting and reporting policies of the bank are in accordance with legal requirements and agreed ethical practices, and that the scope of planning of both the external and internal audits for the year ended 31st December 2021 was satisfactory and complied with the bank's system and internal control. We have reviewed the findings of management matters in conjunction with the external auditors and departmental responses thereof. As required by the provisions of the Central Bank of Nigeria Circular BSD-1/204, dated 18th February 2004, on disclosure of insider-related credits in financial statements. We reviewed the insider-related credits of the bank and found them to be as analyzed in the financial statement as at 31st December 2021. Signed by the chairman of the audit committee, Adekunle Ali. Other members with me are Prince Olaiwola Tobu, Mr. Gbaribo Ajegbe, Air Vice Marshal Olufemi Suewu, I, Chief Samuel Oni, dated the 17th February 2022. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ali. Now the board's corporate appraisals report. I now call on Mrs. Lucia Egbe, the representative of the corporate governance consultant / board appraisers, to present their report.
Mr. Chairman, please permit me to stand on the existing protocol while I do the presentation of our reports of external consultant on board performance appraiser of Abbey Mortgage Bank PLC. We have performed the evaluation of the board of Abbey Mortgage Bank PLC for the year ended 31st December 2021 in compliance with the requirements of the Nigeria Code of Corporate Governance 2018, Security and Exchange Commission Code of Corporate Governance for Public Companies in Nigeria, and the Central Bank of Nigeria Code of Corporate Governance for the primary mortgage banks. Our review covered the evaluation of the board, this committee, and members with particular reference to structure, composition, responsibilities, processes, relationships, and performance, including key performance indicators. We also reviewed the bank's corporate governance framework, as well as policies, manuals, and procedures, and also undertook the evaluation of questionnaire. It should be noted that this evaluation is limited in nature and may not necessarily disclose all significant matters about the bank or reveal irregularities, if any, in the underlying information. To the best of our knowledge and in our opinion, the board of Abbey Mortgage Bank PLC has complied with the requirements of the Nigerian Code of Corporate Governance 2018, Security and Exchange Code of Corporate Governance, and the Central Bank of Nigeria Code of Corporate Governance during the year ended 31st December 2021, signed by Julius Ulukayode Anyango, February 20th, 2022. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I now lay before you the company's audited financial statements for the year ended 31st December 2021. At this point, I now invite shareholders to make comments and ask questions on their accounts. Okay, let's start from the left to right.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. All protocols duly observed. Shareholders and other regulatories present. My name is Adeleke Oladimeji. The results we are considering today, I'm highly happy and impressed because looking at far back from where we are coming from, our first AGM that day, many years ago, over a decade ago at Lagoon, and looking far back from where we are coming from when our head office is still at Apapa, you've seen that this bank have gone a long way. And if it is only God, hard work, dedication, resilience that has brought us this far. because looking at the past event that has happened to this company over the years and the difficult environment at which we operate, and looking at how difficult Nigerian business environment is, I see that this bank has really tried. We are so impressed with this result. 3 years ago, the former chairman, our chairman in this venue, I asked him a very big question, which it takes him time for him to answer, and he eventually answered. And I still asked him last year, I asked that chairman, with the dry bone rice again, it takes him about 15 minutes before he responds. And last year when I asked the same question, he said yes. So without asking the question again, with this annual report, I've seen that the dry bone have already risen. And the most difficult thing to define is success. But the most acceptable definition of success is when you left a place better than how you meet it. That is when you are successful. So our former chairman, which have just gone, has been highly successful in life because the way he met this complaint was not the way he left it. So my good regards to him, and I wish him success in this endeavor. I've tried to call him about 2 weeks ago, but I think he's busy. His line was engaging. He has really tried. And looking at this account, we are highly impressed. To say the fact, this is the only mortgage surviving bank in Nigeria, PLC for now. This is the only one. Union Home is gone, Resort is gone, ASO Savings is gone, all of them have gone. So year back when we usually have this meeting, our former MD, that madam, Mrs. Roslyn, she always laments, complains, murmured and told us how difficult it is to get loan back and how people are so adamant in paying their loan. We just feel pity for the bank and everybody will just go. And also our company secretary is not always happy then. There are times we hold our AGM at very close to Chevron and everybody was, but now look at us today. We are now happy, everybody is happy. And looking at these accounts, the indices here are very, very positive. So it shows that we have people that are up to the task. So, and I want to ask, now that we are in this present condition, which direction are we going? It's so important. I read in the annual report on the chairman's statement that we are applying for regional license. Why regional license? Why not national license? That is where we should be looking at. And also looking at these accounts critically, comparing page 143 to 145, our 5 years financial summary, it shows that this bank has really tried over the years. We have really, really tried. For an access of a bank to grow from 18 billion to 34 billion is not an easy task. And our deals from bank, all the indices here, they are just superb. And I'm so impressed, I'm so happy to be here. And this also stands that these are our 30th annual general meeting. I know 30 years is a sign of maturity, is a sign of, by the time you are 30 years, as a man, your parents expect you to get married. So it shows that the bank, if you are a good Christian and you look at the biblical principle of being 30, Jesus Christ's ministry kick off when he was 30 years. So it shows that this bank have just started and the sky is our limit. And also looking at page 112, other operating expenses. Other operating expenses. I can see that we spent, I want to ask, professional fee of 97 million against 30 million of last year. What brings out these huge expenses? I think is on the high side. Also, last year we spent just 3 million on advertising. And this year, we spent 37 million. I think this is huge. We spent a lot of advertising. Those days, organizations don't spend a lot of money on advertising again. If you look at these accounts critically, our registrars, they put on their social media handle. I believe Abbey buildings should also have a good social media account in which we serve as a good means of public regulation and advertising and marketing for us. This is where we have a lot of viewers nowadays. You know that those days when people go through papers and TVs. Every organization have good social media and those in which they post pictures, their phone numbers, their contact address, in which people can easily access to them. I think that is what we should also emulate. Also, page 109, we are not doing too good in the East. Most of our business are in the South and in the North. I believe there are a lot of good opportunities in the East in which we can tap into. And also, 3 organizations have about 70% in these in the complaint. And we minority shareholders have just 30%. I believe we should look into it whereby we bring someone from here to the board. There should be a minority representative of the board. This is also very, very important, and it also adds value to the board. I'm so delighted to be here today. I'm so happy because going far from where we are coming from and where we are today, it shows us that we have capable hands at hand. And looking at the new set of investors that have come to this bank, someone like Noso that I've known over the years, please, I think he's going to come here today, but I didn't see him. Please send my regards to him. And, Mr. Adeoye and Mr. Adewumi, their rich profile, I've already spoken a lot about them, and it shows that they have already come to add value to the bank. So by God's grace, I know by next year, when we are coming to this kind of gathering, we'll be coming to Smile with a better result. And put it in mind, I think by next year, please, no matter how small, dividend is very, very important. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, other directors. And good morning, esteemed shareholders. The name is William Aribayo. Mr. Chairman, I want to join the first speaker because success has 1,000 fathers. That's what the scripture says. Everybody is related to success. But the important thing today is, whichever way one look at it, it's like a story of a sick child. I would like to start on a humorous note. It's like a story of a sick child, but with the grace of humanitarian gentle who offer pints of blood, that sick child eventually bounced back to be a promising and successful athlete. That is the story of Abbey Mortgage Bank. To the glory of God, I'm standing in front of you as a shareholder of this bank. And I'm also happy to introduce myself as a shareholder of the VFD that has deemed it necessary to inject over 35% in this establishment. Honestly speaking, without any gainsaying, we cannot throw away the effort of the VDF investors. As a financial investor, they've done very well. Some of us who are privileged to have their shares, we knew what we have gained as yield over investment. And we've seen the good work that VFD has done in investments so far in Nigeria. Today, we are happy to have that young investment company, VDF. It's like the old story of having the prestigious Stanbic Bank injecting into SIC investments. To the glory of God today, that was how Stanbic started, injecting fund, necessary fund and equities into many SIC Nigerian investments. And at the end of the day, they all bounced back to become more successful and energetic. Today, as shareholder of this bank and of the VDF, I am happy for your performance. If you look at page 7, because I would like to go into the figures. If you look at that page 7, it is achievement on its own. But the essence of what I want to see is our core business. That is loans and advances to customer, which went up by over 28%. Deposit to customers too. These two factors have shown that we are doing very well in our core business. So also is gross earning. But whichever way we want to look at it, profit, loss after tax, to me, that figure is so tiny because the gentleman from VDF, VADF, it's the same thing. No, the funny thing is that name, whichever way you look at it, connotes success. Yes, so honestly, they are from an institution that they don't have anything other thing than to make success and bake cake. That's their business. That's why I say that lost position, they will.
It's not lost.
No, yeah. They will effectively wipe it away. Yes, I trust them. Our MD, am I correct? Yes, I am correct. Yes, that position is wiped already. I know. Because they are from a region where success is a tax. They have to work out assiduously to do that. Mr. Chairman, today too, without any gainsaying, I want to thank this board for your corporate social responsibility. I've seen that on page 26. You have been able to give out to the needy and institutions, which is very good. But funnily, I mentioned this last year, page 106. There is a portion there we must get rid of at all cost. Page 102. Yes, 102. Investment in Universal Trust Bank. Universal Insurance PLC. If you still have that funny thing in our books, the world will look at us as an object of caricature. Universal Insurance is more or less a dead company. Honestly, we should effectively get it off from our books. I am a shareholder and I have investment in virtually all the quoted companies. Universal Insurance Company is more or less a dead company. It is important we write it off. I personally informed former MD, Madu Aman, that the moment we still have this time in our books, this information will go everywhere. The people will look at us as a laughing object. Why must you have this type of investment? Get it off. Get it off. If we must have investment in equity, it should be sound investments. Look at what the blue chips are doing. Eh? Look at that. MTN and the other one, Airtel. Airtel Africa. They are money spinners. So we have gotten to a stage that anything we'll do should bring money and success. So whichever way we want to do it, let's just get it off our books. I mentioned it last year. Once again, I want to thank this board for this achievement. And like the first speaker I mentioned, the shareholders knows nothing more than dividends. Next year, I will be coming here by God's grace. We want to have dividends. And for every move that we want to do, to take up, get a regional banking license. Continue to grow organically. Don't go for international because you won't be able to go. I won't deceive you. Begin to build this institution organically, gradually. One day you will get there. My regards to extend my greetings to our former MD. I wish him well, but I guess he's going to rest because there's nothing much for him to do. As MD of Mortgage Bank, he's going to have his leave, maybe enjoy his pension there and that's all. My greetings to our former chairman and everybody. And to the new directors, it is my belief they will add value. I am impressed to see one of the daughter of our late grandfather, Ogochonok. Yes, I am happy she will be coming on board. Our father has served tremendously well, and it is good we have. Yes, it's good we have somebody. Very, very sound chairman. Very sound chairman. Yes. Once again, congratulations. God bless you.
Thank you. Are there more questions? No. Thank you very much, shareholders, for your input. But please, permit me to make some salient corrections. Chief Oshonogo is alive and strong.
Oh, hallelujah.
Right.
So you will be happy with this performance.
Oh, all right. Then the other point, Mazi Evie is still the chairman. So I'm just standing in for him. He's with us online. All right?
Because these young people do not, their injection will bring in new blood. That's our assumption.
We're all rejuvenated.
Yeah, the injection will bring in new blood.
Right. Then I just want to reinstate that the dry bones have actually risen. The reports that we have bear witness to that. Thank you very much for the various questions, some of which the MD will address. The MD.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And thank you, shareholders, for the questions. And above that is your thoughts on the institution and the progress we've made over the last 30 years. I think one thing that is striking from what you said is the resilience of the Abbey brand. You heard the gentleman referring to Union Loans, ASO Savings, and a couple of other mortgage banks, which probably started around the same time Abbey commenced business. But in the life of an organization, there would always be troubled times. It's the way and manner you overcome those times and you come out stronger for it. Like the analogy you made, a sick child that gets injected with blood, and that blood actually brings the child back to life. What we can say as management, and also speaking for the board, if Mr. Chairman permits me, is that you have an institution that you would be proud of. We are committed to taking this institution to the next level, leaving it in a stronger position, much more stronger position than we met it. And I'm sure as shareholders, we've been tracking our share price, and you've seen significant improvement in the share price. Beyond dividend, right, there's also the share price. There are times you want to sell, to realize value from the investment you've made. I will take the questions, and I could skip one or two, but have to come back to it. On the expenses noted, or the increase in expenses noted, to do business in this climate, you need to spend. And if you look at the growth you've seen in expenses, compared to just the growth you've seen in the business, the reference was made to deposit liability growth, risk asset growth, even the business turning profits. You have to spend to realize the value you want to make in the market. The comments on the expenses are noted, but we have a strong team, right, focused on OPEX optimization to ensure that for every expense the bank spends, we derive equivalent value from that spend, and that is what you've seen reflect in just the improved performance you have in the business. References were made to being active on social media and all that. If you watched Abbey in the last 2 years in the social media space, there has been so much improvement. Visibility has improved, and we've had validation from the market that where has Abbey been? We go for meetings in the earlier part of the 2 years, and you go to a place and they're asking you, Abbey, is Abbey a bank? I've never heard of Abbey before. But when we knew we had that issue, we had to spend on a lot on advertisement. Even some of those social media projections, you actually need to spend on them, because a lot of them, the promotions you do on social media don't come free. That story has changed. The visibility of the brand has been further enhanced in the last 2 years. For businesses in the East, Abbey is present in the South, in Asaba. And what we've tried to do in the last 2 years is to increase our presence in the East. If you look through some of the transactions we've done, or some of the relationships that have been consummated in the last 2 years, a lot of them have also been in the East. So your point's taking, we are working on it, we are reinforcing, because Abbey is a national brand anyways. We are reinforcing Abbey is a national brand, so we are also reinforcing that presence. You will not only, as soon as you will not only see us in the East, you will see us in Borno, you'll see us in Kano, you'll see us in all the places across the country, just to further enhance our presence across the nation. The points on universal insurance is taken. We'll look into it. But if you understand, which I know you understand, is that you do mark to market. So in the real sense, the drop in price has already been affected in the financials. But we would also look at it and take a view and just see whether we should write it off. On dividend, like you validated, where we are now wasn't where we were 6 years ago, was not where we are 3 years ago, wasn't where we are 2 years ago, So we are making, like your analogy of a child, you inject blood. When you inject blood, you start feeding the child to grow, So that growth process is in force. We are committed to making the shareholders smile, by, yes, cleaning up the books, ensuring that the performance you've seen in the books reflects in the share price, and ultimately that on a consistent basis, we put in a process that ensures a sustainable dividend payment process to shareholders. For banks, if you are coming from where we are coming from, you need to have a couple of regulatory engagements, for you to be able to start paying dividends. We've commenced that process. Once we get an approval, if God smiles on us and we get an approval this year, we are committing to the shareholders that dividends will be paid next year. So keep us in your prayers. We are working hard to ensure that you realize the value and the trust you've placed on this institution. Thank you.
Thank you. I now propose that the financial statements for the year ended 31st December 2021, together with the reports of the directors, auditors, the audit committee, and the board appraisers thereon, be received and adopted. Can somebody please second the motion? Okay. Those in favor? Those against? I now call on the registrar to announce the result of the vote.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For this resolution, we received a total of 8,625,105,756 units of shares. From the proxies received voting in favor of this resolution, there was no vote against and there was no abstention. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Based on the result announced by the registrars, I hereby declare that the motion has been carried. The second item on the agenda is the election and re-election of directors whose profiles are contained on page 36 in the annual report. In accordance with our articles of association, Mr. Nonso Okpala retires by rotation and is being eligible is offering himself for re-election. I hereby move that Mr. Nonso Okpala, being a retiring director, be and is hereby re-elected as a director of the company. Will someone please rise and second the motion? Okay.
That guy is very corrupt, so I want to. Okay.
Give it.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The name is Mrs. Odushote Anike. I rise to second the motion. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you. I now put the motion to the meeting. Those in favor? Okay. Those against? None. I now call on the registrar to announce the result.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For this resolution, the result of the poll is as follows. 8,625,105,756 units of shares, representing 100% of the votes cast by proxy, voted in favor of the resolution. There was no vote against and there was no abstention. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Based on the result announced by the registrars, I hereby declare that the motion has been carried. Next, I hereby move that Professor Mario Sumego be and is hereby re-elected as a director of the company. Will someone please rise and second the motion? Yes. You give it.
The name is William Adebayo. I rise to second that motion.
Thank you. I now put the motion to the meeting. Those in favor? Those against? I now call on the registrar to announce the result.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For this resolution, the result of the poll is as follows. 8,625,105,756 units of shares, representing 100% of the vote cast by proxy voted in favor of the resolution. None of the votes cast voted against, and there was no abstention. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Based on the result announced by the registrars, I hereby declare that the motion has been carried. I hereby move that Ms. Chika Ochonogo be and is hereby elected as a director of the company. Will someone please rise and second the motion?
I so do, Chairman. Adeleke Dimeji. Thank you.
I now put the motion to the meeting. Those in favor? Those against? I now call on the registrars to announce the result.
The resolution to re-elect Ms. Chika Ochonogo as a non-executive director, the result of the poll is as follows. 8,625,105,756 units of shares, representing 100% of the vote cast by proxy, voted in favor of the resolution. None of the votes cast by proxy voted against the resolution, and there was no abstention. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Based on the result announced by the registrars, I hereby declare that the motion has been carried. Item 3, seeks your approval for directors to fix the remuneration of auditors. I hereby move that the directors be and are hereby authorized to fix the remuneration and expenses of the auditors for the year ending 31st December 2022. Would somebody please rise and second the motion?
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Chairman. My name is Nen Nanoka. I hereby second the motion.
I now put the motion to the meeting. Those in favor? Those against? I now call on the registrars to announce the result of the votes.
The result of the poll is as follows. 8,625,105,706 units of shares, representing 100% of the votes cast by proxy, voted in favor of the resolution. There was no vote against, and there was no abstention. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Based on the result announced by the registrars, I declare that the motion has been carried. Item 4. The new CAMA 2020 requires the disclosure of the remuneration of managers to the shareholders at the annual general meeting. This is contained on page 138 of the annual report. Item 5 is the election of members of the audit committee in consonance with the provisions of CAMA 2020. The committee shall comprise 2 non-executive directors and 3 shareholders' representatives. The directors nominated to represent the board on the committee are Air Vice Marshal Olufemi Shuewu and High Chief Samuel Oni, who is with us online. I now call on the secretary to announce the valid nominations received from members for election to the audit committee.
Mr. Chairman, sir, distinguished shareholders, we received 3 valid nominations as follows. Mr. Adekunle Ali,
In the absence of any other nomination from the shareholders, I now propose that the following persons shall constitute the statutory audit committee of the company for the year ending 31st December 2022. 1. Adekunle Ali. 2. Mr. Gbadebo Ajeigbe. 3. Engineer M.O.T. Tobun. 4. AVM Olufemi Shuewu. And 5. High Chief Samuel Oni. Can somebody please second the motion?
Thank you, sir. I rise to second. The name is Odushoti Anike. Thank you, sir.
Those in favor? Those against? I hereby declare that the motion has been carried. We now move to the special business on the agenda. I hereby move that the director's fees for the year ending 31st December 2022 be 3.5 million for the non-executive directors and 4.5 million naira for the chairman. Will somebody please rise and second the motion?
Thank you, my chairman. I, Engineer Billy Osherifa, second the motion.
I now put the motion to the meeting. Those in favor? Okay. Those against? I now call on...
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For this resolution, we received a total of 8,625,105,756 units of shares, representing 100% of the vote cast, voting in favor of the resolution. There was no vote against, and there was no abstention. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Based on the result announced by the registrars, I declare that the motion has been carried. I hereby move that the directors be authorized to take steps to comply with the provisions of CAMA 2020 and Companies Regulation 2021 as they relate to unissued shares standing in the capital of the company, including cancellation of unissued shares. Will somebody please rise and second the motion?
Thank you, Chairman. The name once again is Adelik Oladimeji. I so agree.
I now put the motion to the meeting. Those in favor? Those against? I now call on the registrars to announce the result of the votes, please.
For this resolution, the result of the poll is as follows: 8 billion